So, if leaks are to be believed, the Galaxy S7 is going to be like a Hollywood remake of a classic blockbuster film, a sort of Frankenstein device that borrows heavily from previous Galaxy devices and includes features like waterproofing, a bigger battery, and the literal second coming of micro SD. There'll probably be a lot less excitement around expandable storage than Jesus' actual comeback tour, but it's still big news nonetheless. So let's start with the choice of model. For you lucky Samsung fans out there, there's going to be up to 4 different models according to notorious leaker EV Leaks. That includes the S7, the S7 Plus, the S7 Edge and S7 Edge Plus. And with that, with much bigger models also means bigger batteries. There's also a size upgrade for the standard models, says VentureBeat. Samsung is said to be bumping up the battery life of the S7 and S7 Edge to 3000 mAh and 3600 mAh respectively. That's a significant increase on the slightly worse than average Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge's batteries. Power will also be saved by the fact that they both will be running Android Marshmallow and Samsung's possible TouchWiz improvements, not to mention a new low power chipset. Wireless charging, meanwhile, should be around 2 hours for the S7 and 2.2 hours for the S7 Edge, and expect a wired charge to be about half that. According to Chinese site UDN, there's a good chance that liquid cooling might be introduced in all S7 variants. It pretty much works in the same way it does for a desktop PC, which is that heat is moved away from the processor and dissipated safely throughout the device, using liquid obviously. Although this might seem like an unusual prediction, it's not unrealistic considering that it is used in the Lumia 950 and Lumia 950 XL. Samsung has filed a trademark for a new type of glass cover called Turtle Glass, but there's little info about the reptilian named new type of glass, and there's little to say it will make it into the Galaxy S7. But it is clear that Samsung is again trying to bring as much of the smartphone production in-house instead of relying on third parties like Corning, which produces the widely used Gorilla Glass. Is the microSD slot making a comeback? Sam Mobile certainly thinks so. This would arguably be the biggest coup for long-term Samsung fans who kicked up an almighty fuss when the expandable storage was removed from the Galaxy S6. And also be a massive U-turn for Samsung because expandable storage simply isn't as fast as onboard storage. So it'd be interesting to see how Samsung would mitigate that. Sam Mobile's latest leak suggests that the S7 and S7 Edge will support a 12 megapixel camera rather than a 16 megapixel snapper seen on the previous Galaxy. While this might sound like a superficial downgrade, for example you won't be able to zoom as much but pictures will take up less storage, the new camera is said to have an aperture of f-stop 1.7, which means better low light photography, and what's more, the new sensor won't protrude as much as the S6 and Note 5. Samsung has reportedly joined forces with Synaptics to use the company's ClearForce screen technology. Essentially, this is very similar to Apple's 3D touch technology. When you press down on the display, it will register force, which opens up a whole new world of functionality. But Samsung might be going one step further than the iPhone by adding a retina scanner to its authentication process, which is not dissimilar to Windows Hello on the 950 and 950 XL. But also, it's not beyond Samsung to include a number of different technologies in one phone. The S3 and the S4 both had endless amounts of functionality and features that ended up getting dropped for the next device, so we could very well see all of these things happen in the next smartphone. According to VentureBeat, it looks like the S7 will be waterproof again. The S5 is waterproof, the S6 wasn't. People kicked off, and looks like Samsung was listening if it proves to be true, and will make the S7 waterproof. The leak points to it being IP67 waterproof, which means that it's fully dust resistant and it can resist water up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. The S7 and S7 Edge are, unlike last year's offering, said to offer different display sizes at 5.1 and 5.5 inches respectively. However, resolution should remain the same across both screens at 1440 by 2560 Quad HD Super AMOLED. One exciting new feature is the introduction of the always on display, which means that the screen is glanceable like the Gear S2 smartwatch. So notifications are quickly seen when you pick up your phone without properly unlocking it. This is something that the Nexus 6P and Moto phones have had for a while. But what does that do for battery life? Well, that remains to be seen, but the leak suggests that it only drains at 1% per hour. If this all turns out to be accurate, then the S7 will be one of the most feature-packed phones of the year. As I said before, it's not beyond Samsung to cram as much as it can into a device like a sort of digital Swiss Army knife. But the reality is that this probably isn't all accurate, especially the recently trademarked stuff like the Turtle Glass. We'll know more in a couple of weeks, so make sure you stay tuned to Forbes for all the latest coverage. Cheers.